Welcome to Trigger the Truth with Attorney Jason Guida, where we unravel the ins and outs of Massachusetts firearms law.
Hello and welcome to Trigger the Truth with Attorney Jason A. Guida. Jason is a Massachusetts firearms attorney and the leading authority on firearms laws and regulations in the Commonwealth. He is a former director of the Massachusetts Firearms Records Bureau and has extensive experience handling firearm licensing, compliance issues, and firearms-related criminal matters across Massachusetts. I'm Leanne Lyon, and today we are talking about the new firearms law in Massachusetts and how it's being implemented. Jason, the new firearms law in Massachusetts, Chapter 135, was enacted on October 2nd, 2024. What impact has this new law had on your legal practice over the past year?
Thank you. Yes, the new statute, Chapter 135 of the Acts of 2024, has had a significant impact on our practice. Many of the old standards have changed, and we've certainly seen an uptick in certain areas, particularly enforcement areas around assault style firearms, large capacity magazines. We've seen significant upticks in licensing denials, as well as commitment information. So, people who may have had substance abuse or mental health issues in the past are finding that their past is catching up with them. And finally, one of the significant portions of the statute was the requirement that firearms be registered in the Commonwealth. And we're getting a number of inquiries, concerns, questions regarding the registration requirements.
Well, who is subject to these registration requirements, and where are you seeing the most confusion about who needs to comply?
Yeah, so any Massachusetts resident now who is a firearms owner is going to be subject to the registration requirements. While the law was enacted in October of 2024, the actual registration penalties go into effect in October of this year, 2026. People who have firearms, who may have brought firearms here from another state, people who may have built firearms, firearms dealers, all of these individuals are now required to register their firearms in the Firearms Transaction Registration System, which was rolled out about a month ago.
So, what types of criminal cases are you seeing more of under the new law?
Yeah, so we're certainly seeing an uptick in enforcement on assault style firearms and large capacity magazines. With large capacity magazines, in most situations, what we're seeing is individuals who possess what they call pre-ban magazines, magazines that were lawfully possessed before September 13th, 1994. The new law limits where and how an individual can carry a large capacity magazine. Many people aren't aware that they can no longer carry those magazines on their person, whether they're traveling or for self defense, that those magazines need to be unloaded and locked when being transported from your house to the range or from your house to a gun dealer. So many of my clients may get stopped. It's a motor vehicle stop for something unrelated, an unregistered motor vehicle, or speeding, or perhaps they were drinking and driving. And then they're encountering an additional charge for violating the assault weapons ban, which the large capacity magazine falls under. That's a serious felony, and that felony is prosecuted in our superior courts. So we're seeing more and more people not realizing that the law has changed and being affected by this new change in the law through criminal charges. With assault style firearms, law enforcement personnel are being trained on how to recognize assault style firearms. And essentially, and not to be. And essentially, what they're being told is if it looks scary, if it looks like an AR type weapon, they're simply looking up the date of registration of that firearm. And if that firearm wasn't registered in the Commonwealth before July 20th of 2016, they're just charging people with possession of an assault style firearm. Many cases, those weapons aren't assault style firearms. They're not copies and duplicates as the statute talks about. Magazines as well, we're seeing issues with regard to pinned magazines. And what that means is individuals have some sort of block or pin which prevents the magazine from accepting more than 10 rounds. We're seeing that law enforcement are not aware of the statute change, which allows for pinned or blocked magazines, and are often charging people inappropriately for possession of those magazines as large capacity magazines.
Huh, interesting. And also, how did the law make it harder for people to obtain firearms licenses if they've had mental health issues in the past?
Absolutely. The new law created a Section 12 database. And what does that mean? An individual who, at some point in time, may have had some sort of transitional mental health issue and were sent to a hospital for an emergency evaluation. That evaluation could have been a couple hours, it could have been up to 72 hours, 3 days. And during that evaluation, a doctor will talk to you, find out if there is a significant issue, whether you're a danger to yourself or others. And the doctor may come back with the conclusion that no, you're not a danger to yourself or others. This was maybe a bad reaction to medication, or you were just going through a stressful time. There is now a Section 12 database. So police are now entering these encounters with individuals into this database, and this database is being checked before a firearms license is being issued. And many times, individuals are getting denied because they're showing up in this database, even though this database in a Section 12 is not a prohibiting factor for getting the license. The police are using it because they're concerned that there may be a mental health issue, and therefore they're unwilling to issue the license. Another example are commitments. So, any individual who may have had a significant substance abuse issue in their past, or perhaps a mental health issue, can be subject to what's called a Section 35. A Section 35 is a commitment to a facility for treatment. Now, for many years, those records were kept at the local district courts where that Section 35 commitment occurred. Now, that data has been entered into a nationwide database known as the NICS database. And that data is readily available to licensing authorities when they're issuing the licenses, and the federal government through the FBI NICS background check process when someone attempts to purchase a firearm. So we're seeing a significant uptick in individuals who may have had a substance abuse or a mental health issue 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, now suddenly being denied a firearms purchase or denied a license because of that issue. And our firm is able to restore those rights depending on how much time has passed and whether rehabilitation has occurred.
Well, as the rollout continues, what should Massachusetts firearm owners be doing right now to reduce the risk of non-compliance?
I recommend that firearms owners take stock of their inventory, the firearms that they own, the firearms that maybe they had built, the firearms that they had transferred. Make sure that anything that is in their possession is registered under the new registration system. Make sure that anything that's been transferred, that a transaction record has been filed for that transfer. Anything that's been inherited, again, registered. Anything that's been built, registered. And also make sure that the weapons and magazines that are in their possession are not assault style firearms, are not magazines that are either post ban or not properly blocked or pinned. Anyone who has questions about their inventory or the registration requirements, our firm offers consultations on those issues and can help people uh, address an issue before it becomes a significant criminal issue.
Excellent. Well, that is it for today's episode of Trigger the Truth. If you'd like to learn more about Second Amendment legal or speak with attorney Jason Guida about a firearms related matter in Massachusetts, visit secondamendmentlegal.com or contact his office directly at 617-383-4652. Thanks for listening, and remember to like, subscribe to the show, and leave a review if you found this episode helpful. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.